What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Peak Performance Engineering. I'm Brandon, and today we're going to be doing some work on my wife's 2021 Jeep Wrangler JL Rubicon 4xe. So a couple videos ago, I had installed some Odro brand drop steps onto my 2022 Jeep Wrangler, and the wife ended up loving them. And so we kind of were looking for something similar for her Jeep, except of course she didn't want the red accents for her yellow Jeep. Ketchup and mustard, nope, she doesn't like it. So we ended up looking, and we found some steps that she liked from a company called Yitamotor. So Y-I-T-A Motor. These guys are on Amazon. Actually, if you've seen some of my other videos, I've actually installed, they sell tonneau covers and actually like a drop hitch for my bike rack. We used all those products from Yitamotor, and so far they've never let us down. They're on Amazon, all that good stuff. So let me go ahead and let's get the parts out of the box, and we'll show you guys what we got. So stay tuned. So when these steps come shipped to your house from Amazon, they're in quite a large box. As you can see, it's probably 6 feet long, and these are quite heavy, so you may need a second person to kind of help move them around for you. Otherwise, if they're anything like the Odro steps, those are really, really good quality. They are very heavy duty. So I'm hoping that the Yitamotor version is very similar. So let me go get a knife and let's get this thing opened. Let me get you guys in here a little bit closer. So you can see it's really, really well packaged. I already took out a lot of the styrofoam, put it in this box, just trying to keep everything neat and tidy. But again, they feel real heavy duty, just like the Odro steps that I put on my Jeep. And again, very similar as far as, look, you've got a number to call in case you got any problems, a nice little installation sheet here. Now there is left and right, because you can see where this portion here, this kind of open space is longer than this part. So, you do got to pay attention to that. I learned that the hard way when I was placing the steps left and right on my other Jeep. And then of course they give you all the hardware, all nice, nicely bagged. I mean, it's not just like thrown into the freaking box like you see a lot of times. So really, really nice. Actually, these almost look like stainless fasteners. So that's pretty sweet too. So I like that. And these are coated too, so that's a great, rust prevention, all that good stuff. So again, just gives us kind of what we're going to need. Very simple installation on this, 10 mil, 13 mil. Usually these need to be deep wells. At least that was kind of the case last time. And basically, just to give you kind of a rundown, if you have a sport model, you're not going to have any rock rail at all, so your job's even easier. All you've got to do is take these and bolt them on. But if you have a Sahara or a Rubicon, like in our case where we have rock rails, you do have to unbolt the factory rock rails, remove them, then you can sell them on Facebook Marketplace or whatever, and then you go ahead and bolt these on. Let me finish getting these unboxed and we'll kind of show you what they look like, what my wife ended up choosing. All right, so actually I noticed on the bag that they actually say passenger and driver right on the bag itself. So yeah, right there tells us that's the passenger, so that's going to be perfect. And this is going to be the one we need for right here. So again, powder coat that's on these looks really nice. Everything looks pretty well coated, so pretty stoked. So yeah, these are kind of what my wife ended up choosing. And they go actually like this, right? It's how they get mounted. So yeah, I think that'll be nice. My kids are 7 and 9, my two girls, so this will probably help them a little bit too. I know they really like it, the set that I have on my Jeep. Now my wife's Jeep's on 35s. There's no lift. It's just factory 4xe, which does sit a little bit higher than a regular Rubicon, maybe an inch and a half. So with the 35s, it is a little bit tall, but the kids don't really complain. They manage fine. But my Jeep now, also a 4xe, but with 37s. That one was a little bit high, so the kids do really like having these Odro side steps. So I really like them too. You do lose probably a little bit of ground clearance. That's something I'll probably do right now. I'll do a quick measurement with the factory rock rails. And then once we get these installed, we'll do an after and just kind of see what the difference is. All right, guys, so if we take a quick look at the new steps, we can see the bolts that we're going to need to remove, and it's actually going to be, 3 bolts per location, so there's going to be 9 fasteners total on each of the rock rails and also the side steps. They use the same bolts, same fasteners, all that good stuff. So we've just got 2 that'll be shooting this way into the pinch weld, and then this bigger bolt that's going to shoot straight up into the frame of the Jeep. So again, I've done this probably 4 or 5 times now over the last 3 years, between adding rock rails to my Sport and then adding steps to my 22 and then now this 21. So it's a very, very simple process. Usually the bolts come off really easily. There's not much of an issue. So I'm going to go ahead and get under here right now. Let's get this rock rail popped off, and then I'll kind of show you the bolts for that, and then we can get started slamming these bad boys on. So again, I think this whole installation for both sides, even if it's your first time, it probably isn't going to take you any more than 30 minutes, and that's taking off the stock rock rail. So if you have a Jeep like a Sport that doesn't have anything on there to begin with, this should be honestly a 15-minute install. Now you may want to have a helper, just because these things can get kind of weird, if you're trying to put them on yourself. I ended up putting on the steps on my 22 all by myself. I kind of used my feet and pivoted everything into position, but it would be super, super easy, or much easier with an extra hand. So if you got a wife or someone who can come out and give you a hand installing it, you'll be happy you did. And so under here, just kind of looking at the rock rail just from underneath, you can see we've got just that one bigger bolt. So this is just going to be a 13 millimeter that we're going to remove. And then along the sides of the pinch rail, this is where we have our 2 bolts. So this just repeats itself all the way down the rail. So 1, 2, 3 times 2 more spots. So we have 9 fasteners in all. So with this one, I like to use just a ratchet. You can't really get in the electric socket or impact or whatever. But then for these ones, I just use my gun, and then boom, we just zip these guys right off. So I like to undo all these ones first, and then I save these last 3 for last. And especially since I'm out here alone, I'm going to kind of, have to hold one end and then use my foot to hold the other end and all that fun stuff. So I'll let you guys go ahead and watch. All right, so these rock rails for this Jeep have been on here for about a little over a year, and we've got 12 or 13,000 miles on them. And again, it came right off. All the bolts, these bolts are just not held on from the factory with a whole lot of torque, so it makes the removal very, very simple. So you can see these are just going to have the studs popping out, the 2 10 millimeters, and then the 1 13 millimeter that will shoot up into the frame. So again, pretty simple. And hey, if you're not going to use these, guys that have Wrangler Sports that don't have factory rock rails, they'll usually happily buy these things. I'm not sure what the market is, but usually I think they go for around $75 to $100 for a pair. So yeah, get some of your money back on your steps, because usually these steps are about, I think, $300 is what we paid. So I will put the link down below for this particular set of Yitamotor steps, and also I'll link the Ojo steps as well that I have on my Jeep, because they've been holding up really well. I'm really, really happy with those. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started popping on our Yitamotor steps. And as far as install of the steps go, guys, they do give you pretty good instructions. So basically they just tell you, hey, go ahead and set the steps into place. They do recommend having someone help you, and you put in the rocker panel bolts or pinch weld bolts first. So the OEM rock rails have studs that are attached to the rock rail that stick out. These don't have studs, so we're going to be actually inserting bolts now. So get your bolts in first. There's going to be 6 of those per side. And then, of course, we're going to finish with the body bolts that shoot up into the frame. So there's going to be 3 of those per side. And then, boom, this is going to be our final product. And they even give us the tightening torque and all that good stuff. So if you want to bust out your torque wrench, 10 foot-pounds for the smaller bolts, 20 foot-pounds for the big ones. So again, it's not a lot of torque, so it makes the install very, very simple. All right, guys, and we did it. So probably only took 5-10 minutes maybe. I was under there getting these things bolted on, but I mean, right away, wow. Just like, look at how much kind of beefier, more badass it makes the whole Jeep look. So really, really, really liking these. I'm gonna have to get my wife out here to show her, but I'll probably knock out the other side first. But yeah, everything went really, really smooth. The hardware and stuff they gave, it was all fine. So bolted it right on there, no problems. And yeah, wow, just absolutely loving it. I'm gonna have to actually wash this thing and shine the tires up, make it look sweet. So again, we probably lost a little bit of ground clearance. I forgot to actually do a measurement with the actual rock rail, but it's not a big deal. Let me crawl under there and we'll measure from the pinch weld or whatever rocker panel down, and then we can measure against this piece and kind of see what we lost. All right, let's see what we got. So if we measure from kind of the factory, I would say it's about 16¼ inches is what we would have had with the rock rails. And now this bad boy at its lowest point's about 14¼ So we do lose probably around 2 inches or so of ground clearance, but of course this would act now as your rock slider, so you'd be sliding across this. And this is also just slightly lower than the bottom of the factory frame. So kind of helps protect the frame too, right? Keeps you sliding on here and not on your frame. So yeah, pretty awesome. Ugh. But again, I'm just super stoked with the way this looks, right? It's just changes the whole attitude of the Jeep, makes it look a lot kind of tougher and more like a Jeep, you know? All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. So again, check the links down below to the links for the exact Yitamotor steps that I used on this 21 build. And also I'll link the Odro steps that I used on my 22 Wrangler as well. But again, seems like really good quality stuff, very heavy duty. The coating that's on there seems really good. The hardware was good. So pretty stoked, pretty happy. I would say it was a 5 out of 5. And it's a very simple installation, as you guys could see. So shouldn't have any problems. I would say this is definitely something to look into doing to your Jeep. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.